Welcome to the show, guys. NFL Week 1 is in the books. In this video, we're going to be talking about the studs and the sucks at each position for Week 1, the latest news, guys, and everything you need to know to get you guys prepared for Week 2 based on what we saw on Week 1. Now, I do a full preview show, so make sure you guys are subscribed. That comes out every Thursday. We go through all the matchups and starts and sits. But I want you guys to get prepared to understand this happened. What do I do next week? For example, Drake London, right? Absolutely crap the bed. We're going to talk about that, okay? Some expectations with him, what you should do moving forward. Going to cover that for you right here, right now. And we're going to honor, this is very important, the suck of the week at each position. So we get to pick one. Now, in the comments below, guys, let me know below who is a suck of the week at each position particularly, and who really sucked and crapped the bed for you this week. Love to get your feedback, okay? Now, there was a lot of things I was right on. There's a lot of things I was wrong on, but the mainstream constituents were wrong about a lot, and they're not being held accountable. We know Drake London sucked and Najee. Those are my guys, right? But the consensus, man, I mean, there was a lot of bad stuff happening with them. I mean, T. Higgins, we're going to go through it, right? Dobbins, he's gone. Cooper Kupp, right, on IR. All guys that we as 16 rounders stayed away from. We dodged a lot of fantasy football garbage bullets here, guys. But again, I want to make sure you guys are prepared moving forward. Again, I do that in the full preview show. We're going to talk a little bit about here right now. Now, let's talk about some news here before we get into this, guys. And before we do, make sure you guys smash a thumbs up, helps the channel, and drop a name below. Who crapped the bed for you? Who is your suck of the week? Love to rip into them. Drop it below, okay? Studs and sucks, all right? And who did well for you? Let's be positive. Who crushed it for you? For me, Calvin Ridley, Trevor Lawrence did well. Laporta had a good week. You know, Bijan, a lot of positives, right? Want to hear below from you guys who did positive, who did negative, okay? Drop it below and smash thumbs up, helps the channel. All right, so some news here, okay? Mainly is last night's game. Aaron Rodgers looks like he's getting an MRI today. By the time it's recording, maybe the news has been released by the time I post this today, right? Looks like a torn Achilles, might be done for the year. MRI is going to determine that. Very tough sledding for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. They did pull out a win. Their defense really carried them. And by the way, their defense is for real. I mean, the Jets defense is for real. What they did to Josh Allen yesterday with the 2 interceptions is unbelievable, right? Which is, again, he's a suck of the week is Josh Allen. So one thing you got to consider, if you do have Aaron Rodgers, obviously look to the waiver wire. I mean, he was only a backup at best, so he could be done for the season. This is going to hurt Garrett Wilson's value. It unfortunately sucks. It is what it is, right? Injuries happen, okay? Austin Eckler was banged up, dealing with an ankle injury. He did hobble off in that game, but came back. I don't think it's that serious. He may miss a week at max. That's kind of the update with him. And Breece Hall looked really good, rushed 10 times for 127 yards, including an 83-yard scamper, guys. That's unbelievable. But at the end of the day, I don't know if Breece Hall is 100% because, again, he could have ran that to the house. He looked like he gassed at the end of that play. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from him, but I'm just saying, I think he's about 80% back, 85. I think that's why they brought Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook looked lackluster, rushed the ball 13 times for 33 yards in week 1. Yeah, he didn't look as good as Breece the Beast Hall, okay? So let's go through this here, guys. Let's talk about the studs and sucks at each position. Again, make sure you guys subscribe, thumbs up, all right? Now, I don't want to focus too much on the studs, so we'll highlight the top 3 guys at each position and really focus on the sucks at each position, okay? This is very important. So Tua, Mac Jones, and Jordan Love, out of all people, Jordan Love is my second quarterback in a 2-quarterback league, did very well for me this week, all right? It was actually on my bench. I ended up starting Ryan Tannehill because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with Jordan Love. But it is what it is, guys. I'm going to be starting Jordan Love moving forward. He had a great week, okay? Justin Herbert had a safe week, okay? Trevor Lawrence, Brock Purdy, other honorable mentions that did great. The guys that crapped the bed, these guys should be ashamed of themselves. Ashamed, okay? We got Lamar Jackson finishing 27th, guys, amongst quarterbacks, 27th. He should be ashamed of himself. So how do you prep for him? Listen, I told you, avoid Lamar Jackson. He hadn't finished the past 2 seasons. He can't throw past 3,000 yards. Is this going to continue? I don't know. The guy threw 1 interception, no touchdowns, finished with under 7 points, 6.56. Is this going to continue? Hopefully not. He did play a bad team as well. So it makes no sense to me why he couldn't beat the Texans unless they stepped up their defense this year and we're not aware. But, I mean, they're not a terrible defense, but offensively, terrible offense. But either way, you think that he would actually run over Texans team. He didn't, though, guys. He really didn't, okay? Dak Prescott finishing 28th amongst quarterbacks. Terrible. Mind you, he actually didn't throw an interception, which is a plus for him. Finished with how many? 6.32 points. Daniel Jones, 4.46 points. Shame on you, Daniel Jones. You should be ashamed of yourself. Joe Burrow, absolutely terrible, guys. 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 3.18 fantasy points. Absolutely disgusting here. And Josh Allen, a guy that was drafted in the second, third round in a lot of leagues, 9.04 points. And this is where matchup does make a difference. I actually have Josh Allen in one league I ended up drafting back in May. I ended up starting Trevor Lawrence. I actually, believe it or not, I have Josh Allen and Lawrence. I ended up starting Trevor Lawrence, so I did okay in that league. I ended up winning the week. So again, guys, very important. Matchups do play a factor. Again, with these quarterbacks moving forward, I talked about prepping you. You got to start your starters. These are the guys you believe in, but look to acquire a backup, maybe a Brock Purdy, a Jordan Love, so that you guys are covered at the quarterback position. Whenever I talk about 16 rounds, I say anchor your team with an ace quarterback, a Trevor Lawrence, a Herbert, someone who you know is consistent. Fields, guys. Justin Fields also didn't have a good week. These guys, Justin Fields finished 16th, right? 1 interception, 1 touchdown, 14.54 points. Not the greatest. Was drafted very high. Guys, he's subjective, like not subjective. What's that? He's questionable, right? Guys like that, you don't know what they're going to do. Lamar Jackson, right? Speculative. Him and Fields, we don't know, right? Because we haven't seen it out of them. So everyone's drafting them so high. Oh, I got running upside. But yeah, got a running upside, but we haven't seen what they can do. So yeah, you're going to be in trouble. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you don't know. That's why you anchor your team with an ace quarterback and then back them up with an upside guy like a Purdy and Jordan Love, which is exactly what I told you guys to do. If you got 16 rounds, you guys are cruising right now with your quarterbacks in a good situation. Running backs, Aaron Jones, Eckler, Christian McCaffrey. Hey, man, week 1, I was wrong on these guys. They're crushing it, although Eckler banged up a little bit, showing signs. Algier, Pollard, man, all these guys that I was like, I don't trust finishing near the top. We're going to have to see. Tom's going to tell. It's a marathon, guys, not a sprint. But guys that I like, Bijan Robinson did well, Nick Chubb, Breece Hall doing well. Derrick Henry only 15 attempts. That's a bit of a concern. 13 point, 9 points. Guys, with the running back position, it's getting a little scary. The committees are in full flow. Even a guy like Austin Eckler, Joshua Kelly is a top waiver wire pick for this week. Why? Because, guys, committees are there now. People want to preserve their running backs. It's just the way that it is. I'm hoping guys like Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan really take the reins and start going full flow because they are the better out of the running back committee. If they want to win, they got to play the best players. And I believe that Gibbs and Bijan take a step up. So a lot of winners, but there's a lot of losers here. Let's talk about them. Saquon Barkley, under 10 points, 9.3 points, only 51 yards on the ground, but the Giants did terrible. So Saquon Barkley, you suck, man. Suck. Terrible week. I mean, it's week 1. I'm not concerned. I think Saquon Barkley bounces back. Don't be concerned. Start your starter. Josh Jacobs, he looked a little bit, if it's just me, guys, drop a comment. Did Jacobs look a little overweight or something? He looked thicker or something like that. I don't know. It could have been, on a Eddie Lacy diet plan or something, but he looked a little off. 9.1 points. Cam Akers, he had a touchdown to save him. He was doing terrible. Just under 9 points for him. My guy, Dameon Pierce, absolutely crapped the bed. I don't know what to tell you guys. 6.7 points. He did have a tough matchup. No excuses. It was week 1. The quarterback was getting integrated, CJ Stroud. So we're going to have to see. But Dameon Pierce, you suck. AJ Dillon sucks, 5.6 points. What is that? Yeah, and then we got Najee Harris, 5.3 points. And again, we're talking PPR, guys. Absolutely terrible. Crap in the bed. At quarterback, let's set some word. I say Joe Burrow, you suck, are the suck of the week at the quarterback position. At running back, there's so many guys that did bad. Antonio Gibson, 0.5 points. Chase Edmonds, 0.8. DeAndre Swift, I told you to avoid him, 1.3 points. But I got to give it to my guy, take ownership on this guy. Najee Harris, you should be ashamed of yourself. You suck. You are the suck of the week at the running back position. At the end, we should honor the suck of the week at all positions, okay? Again, a guy like Joe Burrow being the suck of the week at quarterback. People drafted him high. for me, I was avoiding him, not because I knew he would suck or lack of performance, but simply because he was showing signs of injury, and that got me a little bit like concerned. So I was like, be careful there, okay? Wide receiver, guys. A lot of guys did well. Tyreek Hill, he has those games where he's inflated. He gets these big numbers, right? You know, it was one of his big weeks. He says that he's going to rush or receive 2,000 yards receiving. Very possible. I mean, he had 215 yards the first game and 2 touchdowns. Very unsustainable week in, week out, but he did really well. So Tyreek Hill, amazing game. Brandon Ayuk, Jacoby Myers, he's already banged up. I don't think that's sustainable. Stephon Diggs had a good game, 26 points. Kendrick Bourne on New England had a good game. Calvin Ridley, Justin Jefferson, all good. Puka Nacua, make sure you guys consider grabbing him. Had a good point. Now, moving forward, though, with Puka, understand that if Cooper Kupp does come back, which I don't know when that's going to be, it's hard to trust him. Understand, guys, that Puka will get less work. So you got to adapt. When I talked about helping you guys move forward, you want to still start your starters. You don't want to be completely deterred from your team and say, oh, I had one bad week. We're going to see Drake London. I'm going to give up. These guys are great talent. They're top of their depth chart. Sometimes people have bad weeks. The offensive scheme didn't work out the way they wanted to. The defense was keying in on that player. Everything. There's so many variables to football. It's like a bunch of moving parts. It's not just like one fixed, I'm running a 100-yard sprint and, I'm just not performing well. My diet wasn't good, or I'm a UFC fighter and I didn't make my weight cut and I just felt like crap the day before. It doesn't work like that, guys. In this case, there's so many moving variables. So start your starters, guys. Believe in the guys that you drafted. It's 1 week. Fool me once, right? Shame on, what is that? Shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. It's going to be shame on you if they do it 2 weeks in a row, but give it a chance. Give it a chance, okay, guys? There's a lot of guys that that are amazing talent that's had bad week 1. So moving forward, you're going to be okay. Guys, Jamar Chase, like 9.1, what is he? 9.1 fantasy points. Again, it's part of the Burrow effect, right? Like, I don't know what happened with that team. Divisional game, like, I don't know what happened. Joe Burrow, like, contract hangover, like, it was crazy. But Jamar Chase crapped the bed. Juju, 7.3 points. Again, Jamar Chase finishing 44th amongst wide receivers. This guy was a first-round pick. Alan Lazard sucks. He had 58 points. Odell Beckham, nobody really drafted him. He finished 67th. That's to be expected. Terry McLaurin, who's supposed to be the one on his team, guys, 5.1 points, finishing 69th amongst wide receivers at PPR. DJ Moore, now this one. Now, when I'm telling you a player sucks, here's to wow, so we're not wowed. He's on a suspect team with a quarterback that's questionable in regards to how he's going to perform. DJ Moore, the Bears, we don't know what Fields is going to do. And sure enough, we see it here, 4.5 points. Darnell Mooney was the one. He finished around with 15 points-ish for Mooney and had a touchdown. But DJ Moore, you suck. And I've been telling you, you've been sucking for years. 71 guys amongst wide receivers. Another guy I told you to avoid, and he's a wide receiver 3 on his team, Tyler Boyd, finishing 87th amongst wide receivers. Absolutely terrible. Christian Kirk had a terrible game, 1.9. Now we know who the actual true wide receiver 1 is in Calvin Ridley, and that confirms my suspicions there, okay? Deebo Samuel, 11 points, had a bad week. But I would say the suck of the week has to go to, Amari Cooper, 57th amongst wide receivers with just under 7 points. So guys, a lot of guys crapped the bed. A lot of rookies crapped the bed, but I was kind of not expecting much out of those guys. So when you look at a guy like Amari Cooper finishing 57th, I would say that he gets a suck of the week because he's in a position to succeed with Watson. I mean, they are prime. He should be the one. He saw 7 targets, 3 receptions, but only 37 yards and no touchdowns. So again, under 6 points. Terrible Amari Cooper. It's got to be between him and Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase just under 10 points, finishing 44th. I got to give it maybe to Jamar Chase simply because he was a first-round pick. Jamar Chase should be absolutely ashamed of himself. Terrible. And I got to mention again, Drake London and T. Higgins, guys. Give it to Drake London, but he was like a 4th to 5th round pick. 0 points is absolutely disgusting. So I'm torn. I mean, Jamar Chase actually put up some points, so that's going to carry your team because you started him, but everyone started Drake London. He's a wide receiver 1 on his team. 0 points. You, sir, are the suck of the week. You should be ashamed of yourself. And T. Higgins, a guy that everyone is telling you to draft in the 2nd or 3rd round. Guys, this guy's the wide receiver 2 on his team. Understand that. I would never invest a 2nd or 3rd round pick on T. Higgins, and I told you that, okay? And guess who else got 0? Cooper Kupp, because he didn't play. Told you to avoid him too. Now, with tight ends, again, I have 0 expectations. By the way, I'm going to give you guys the suck of the week. Overall, And then at the end, I'll just give you guys some words moving forward for this upcoming week. Again, with tight end, I don't expect anything, but Hunter Henry, Hayden Hurst, crushed to Hayden Hurst, probably going to be a waiver wire pickup. Carolina got like just under 16 points. Hawkinson had a good game. Again, some good Laporta. I'm glad I started him. But Kyle Pitts, man, again, the Falcons did terrible, finishing 22nd amongst tight ends, 6.4 points. Terrible. Njoku had a bad game. A bunch of guys had a bad game that should have had a better game. But again, with these tight ends, I'm not expecting much. So to be expected, Pat Freiermuth, 7.3 points. I say he's probably the suck of the week at tight end. People expected him to do well, but maybe Kyle Pitts just because he finished under 7 points. So probably Kyle Pitts. I mean, honestly, even David Njoku, I would say. Actually, let's go with David Njoku, finishing with 4.4 points. That's disgusting. A lot of people started him, think he's going to be a starter. So Njoku, Joe Burrow, man, there's just a lot of guys that, were starters with high draft capital, just did not perform, especially quarterback. Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields, Joe Burrow did not get it done, all right? Wide receiver, T. Higgins, Drake, London's of the world, Jamar Chases. So many suck. So what do you do moving forward? Understand, guys, it was only 1 week. So 1 week does not make or break your team. Understand that. It's time to bounce back. It's time to take a look at your roster. It's time to turn the bell on and subscribe here because we go over a full preview, guys, here on Thursday. And join the Patreon group. I will walk through your teams. I do a starts and sits direct Q&A. Join patreon.com/FF Counselor. I've linked it below. That's really going to give you guys an advantage because I'm going to be watching, I'm monitoring, I'm looking at matchups. So I'm going to help you guys in that group, and you could talk to the community as well, like-minded lion mentality. So join the Patreon group there. But also, guys, believe in your team. It's 1 week, right? Injuries happen. We saw Eckler, he's banged up. We saw a lot of guys go down. Dobbins, which I warned you Dobbins would go down, right? Aaron Rodgers go down, which is going to affect Garrett Wilson, right? Things happen, things shift, things move. But the way, if you drafted 16 rounds wise, you're going to have a backup plan for a backup plan. You need to believe in those guys that you drafted, okay, guys? Again, go back. We did a waiver wire show. Go listen to that. That's going to help you. Check out our preview show on Thursday. Make sure you guys subscribe. And again, the suck of the week. Let's go through it. Who is the suck of the week overall? That's a tough one. I just simply have to go. Again, I've got no stock in him. I wasn't really highly recommending him, but I got to go here with Joe Burrow simply because he is the man. He is the guy that a lot of people drafted as a QB1. He crapped the bed. It impacted Jamar Chase, who was a first-round pick. So I'm going to say Joe, and he just got paid. He's the highest paid player in the NFL. And he craps the bed. He should be ashamed of himself, and he loses the game. So he loses his game, impacts fantasy owners, impacts Jamar Chase, gets paid, rips his team off. Unbelievable, guys. So I got to go here with Jamar Chase as the suck of the week. All right, guys, subscribe, drop a suck of the week below. Who do you guys think it is? Let me know. And make sure you guys subscribe. Fantasy Football Full Flow. Hope you guys had a good week. We'll talk soon. I'm out.